Hey team, how you doing? Ray here and here for MotoNZ, and something a lot of people say about the Tenere 700 when it comes to wind protection is that the wind hits the visor here or the screen, and it can connect with the rider right on or just below the peak of their helmet. Something I've seen online a lot lately is one way to combat that. These cheap little screen extenders, and if you position it right, can just add that extra, what's that, 10 mil, 100 mil of wind protection. They're cheap and nasty. You can get them off AliExpress. I know you guys in the States, you get them off eBay. It's basically all comes from the same place. So I thought we'd install this now, and next time I go for a ride, see what it's like. So when you get this this kit off eBay, AliExpress, whatever it is, it comes with the screen, the clamps, and some tiny little Allen keys, which I've since lost, but they're just Allen keys, so they won't be hard to get something to fit. Okay, so we've got lots of adjustment in these. I mean, it's just cheap plastic, but apparently we can adjust everything to suit. Yeah, I feel like that's fitting probably the best it's going to. The screen itself is very flat, where the screen on the T7 is very curved, but I'll nip up these Allen keys. Is it even? Not really. Okay, so it's cheap, it's nasty, it doesn't have all the adjustment that we would potentially want. But the question is, will it deflect enough air to make it worth using? Yep, there we go. Those adjusters on the front there. Yeah, nice. Okay, well, that's on. It's flimsy. Oh, there we go. Lock them down. Oh, that one broke off. Lock them up. No, that one broke off too. This is what happens when you buy cheap crap off cheap crap websites, right? Alright, so this is what it looks like. Yeah, it looks a little bit opaque. I haven't taken the protective film off it yet, but it's installed. And if I'm honest, yeah, it's cheap nasty and I don't like it. But I'll leave it on for the week and see how it goes. Alrighty, something else I need to do is an oil and filter change. Usually I go with a Spectro 10W40. Good mates at motogear.co.nz, they do iPhone, however you want to say it. Pretty sure it's Ipon. French, maybe? So they've sent me a 4-litre bottle of that, and the high flow HF204RC. So the difference between the HF204 and the HF204RC is that the RC comes with the socket on the top of the filter, which makes it just a little bit easier to tie up on one of these. I understand on some racing bikes, for some certain rules, you need to cable that shut, put a bit of wire through there, twist it so it doesn't loosen on the track. But in my scenario, I don't need to worry about that. I just like to use that socket to nip it up, which makes life really easy. So let's do an oil change. I've been putting this off because it's kind of a mundane thing. I've done it on this channel before. It requires taking the bash plate off, which it's only 4 bolts, but it's annoying. So I'm home alone. Let's get it done. From memory, I'm getting all my Allen keys wrong today. It's a 5. Yep, 5mm there, and I'm pretty sure it's a 4.5 under here, but the way things are going today, I'll have that wrong too. Yeah, it's not a 4.5, it's a 4. 1 bolt on either side. Where is it? On that side. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Skid plate is off. Now while I've got you here, let's have a chat about skid plates. The one on the factory skid plate for the Tenere 700 is very thin alloy. It's not flash. This one here I've had on here since I got the bike. It's made by Outback Motortek. It is solid, and it saved me on so many occasions. You just got to look at the dints and the dings and to see how much it's saved me. So I like the Outback Motortek crash skid plate. It's really good. Right, next thing to do is to heat the oil up. I like to run the bike until the gauge, you can scroll through the menus here, that's the outside temperature, 11 degrees, that's why I'm not riding today. I like to run the bike till this internal temperature, and I'm pretty sure this is water temperature, not oil temperature, but I like to go till it hits about 50 degrees. That way there's a bit of temperature in the oil, and it'll come out a lot cleaner. Remember though, everything that I do, everything I say to do, I'm not a mechanic. So it's just stuff I've picked up over the years. You do what works for you. Don't take what I say as gospel. While that's heating up, let's go and find my oil pan full of dead cockroaches. Yum. We'll need that under there. And I'm also going to need a socket set. If there's one thing you should invest in, if you want to do your own maintenance on your bike, it's a decent socket set. I asked my wife for this one for Christmas one year, and I specifically said I want a 1/2-inch drive socket set where everything has a place and that it doesn't fall out whenever you move it. So that way, when you finished your job, everything goes back in there and you know you've got all the tools you need to do pretty much any job. If I ever go on the road, that box goes in the boot of my car along with, you know, half the other stuff in my garage, and I've got what I need. 1/2-inch drive, probably a bit overkill for motorbikes, but if you've watched any content on this channel before, you'll know that I started doing car stuff. I'm a car guy, I like Subarus, and so I want the tools to be able to do the job. Next on the list of tools to buy is probably going to be something like a Torx bit set, but in the same vein as that. It has to have everything I need, and it has to be in a place where I can close the box and nothing falls out, because it's just annoying when stuff falls out. Right, where are we up to on the temperature gauge? There we go, 54 degrees. I'm happy with that. You could go a little bit longer, you could warm it right up, but 50 degrees is enough for me. Okay, so that there is off. Right, now we need to drop the oil. I might get a little bit of light going on down here because it's a bit dark. And I know I said I wasn't going to do a full video on it, but I'm going to. So here we've got the oil drain sump plug, and this is the oil filter. Careful, this exhaust is going to be very hot, so you don't want to burn yourself. I think from memory it's a 17mm for the drain plug. Yes, it is. It's loosen, lefty loosen, righty tighty. Oh, ow, always, every single time I'm going to do that. Oil drain in the right place, This does come out initially with a little bit of speed. So just put a bit of positive pressure on the sump plug. When it starts leaking out, take your hand away. There you go, I was lucky. Comes out with a bit of speed. Don't lose your sump plug. And while that's happening, is it a 17? Yes it is, look at that. I can loosen my oil filter. Ah! Try not to get oil all over your tools. If you do, clean it off. And that's hand tight now. Here we go. Put that there to let it drain. And we're just going to let as much oil as we can get out of this thing just drain out. It's always good to do this sort of thing on some old carpet or something. So if you do drop any oil, it gets soaked up. Some old newspaper, maybe an old box, something like that. While that's happening, I'm going to find a rag to tidy up any oil drips. It will stop dripping eventually. One day. But while that's happening, you can organise your new filter. So, filter out, take the plastic off. That's important. This O-ring around the edge of the oil filter is pre-lubed, but it's always a good idea. Get some oil on your finger, rub some used oil around the edge of the filter, around that O-ring, just to make sure it's nice and lubed. My filter has stopped dripping, so I'm going to put that back on. Hand tight to begin with. And now is when you need to break out the internet and look up if your bike is a Tenere 700, whatever bike you've got, look up the torque specs for the filter and the sump plug. They are less than you would expect. Okay, so some Tenere 700s in the book will have 32 foot-pounds of torque on the sump plug. They've actually admitted that that's too much. So what you want to do is you want to go with the updated torque specs for the sump plug, which I'm just frantically trying to find now. And it looks like 21 foot-pounds would be recommended. And according to this, 15 Newton meters. So let's put that on the list of things that you should purchase, if you don't already, is a proper torque wrench. And they actually do need to be recalibrated periodically. It's the sort of thing you don't need often, but when you do need it, you need it, you know. So we'll go with 15 Newton meters. Drain plug back in. 15 Newton meters is not much at all. We'll get rid of that residual oil. I'll give the filter housing, filter cooler a wipe down as well. You can actually probably see better than I can. 15 Newton meters is less than one ugga dugga. Yep, that'll do us. Make sure my filter's nipped up. Awesome. Before I put the skid plate back on, I'm going to refill it with oil, and we'll get it up to operating temperature, make sure there's no leaks. Once I'm happy there's no leaks, I'll put the skid plate back on, because there's nothing worse than going, I've got a leak, I have to take my skid plate back off. Plus, if there is any leaks, your skid plate's going to catch it all. We need to be reasonably accurate with the amount of oil we put in. So get yourself a measuring vessel, clean it out, make sure there's no debris in it. If you can have a measuring vessel specifically for oil and nothing else, and you can keep it clean, even better. I struggle with keeping things clean in my garage. This is quite a dark engine oil. I'm not used to something so dark. Usually it doesn't get that dark until it's used. It's alright. Funnel. Oil. Drink, my precious. Alright, that is the best part of 2 litres in there. Alright, so not including the stuff that's still in the oil bottle, in the funnel or on the floor. That's 3 litres. That there is the oil sight glass. and you can see the oil in there, but it only gives an accurate reading when the bike is level. So if I stand the bike up very carefully, you'll see that it's actually still over full, and that's because all the oil is sitting in the sump, not circulated through the engine. Hence why we need to start it up, keeping an eye on this light here. This is the engine oil light. If that doesn't disappear quickly, we've got a problem. All right, here we go. There we go, it's gone. So I'll just let that idle and cycle the oil through the engine for a little bit. Okay, so we're starting to get a little bit of temperature in there now. Again, I'll let it go till it hits about 50 degrees, and then we'll check the oil in the sight glass again. Alright, 50 degrees, there we go. Now we can check the sight glass, bearing in mind that straight after you've turned the engine off, it's not going to read perfectly accurate. Stand the bike up from vertical, you can see that there's an air pocket there. So I'm going to say that that is good. I'm happy with that. But there you go. There's your engine oil change. You want to give it a quick run, get it up to full operating temperature, make sure there's no leaks coming from down here, which I might go and do shortly because it looks like it stopped raining. Oh, it's very dark. Okay, I just did a super quick road test on the T7 following the oil change. Let's just check to see if there's any leaks, and then we can put the skid plate back on, and we're done. And apart from a bit of the damp stuff, no leaks that I can see, which is great. When I did a road test, I got it up to probably 80% of operating temperature, which is like, I got it up to like 75 degrees. I think the bike sits between 80 and 90 most of the time. If you're sitting in traffic, it might get up to 100 and then the fans kick on. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to put the skid plate back on, and that's us. We're good to go for another 10,000. As I said, as I keep saying, 40,000 Ks on this bike now, so I should be doing valve clearance checks, spark plugs, and a few other things. But check your owner's manual for more information on what you should do when. I'm a big advocate for giving things a go. You know, get in there and get your hands dirty and get to know your machine. If you need help, there are many people out there that are willing to help. As I say, everything I do is just from learning how to do it myself. I'm not a mechanic. This is probably close to the extent of my mechanical expertise. Although there is a video a few months ago I did chain and sprockets, which, you know, if you look too closely at that, there's probably many things I did wrong that a mechanic could tell you not to do. But anyway, oil filter change. We've installed the Turbie's armour down here. I've got a funky little wind deflector that I'm going to try out on my next rides. I haven't road tested the suspension apart from a very, very short expedition up the hills behind my place. So I've got a bit of commuting this week. We're going to test that out on the road, and then hopefully the weather's nice next weekend and I can get dirty. So thank you very much YSS, thank you very much RS Motorcycles for the help with the suspension. I've got a few other things hidden around the garage here that keen train spotters might have noticed that I'm going to do to the bike, and in the next few weeks it should be a complete transformation. Hit that subscribe button, please do that. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers. As soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers, we can start getting some money for the ads that you're already seeing on this channel, thanks YouTube. And if you've got any questions or comments, chuck them in the box below, because the algorithm, it's all about the algorithm. You know, more interaction on a video pushes it further, more people see it. But further to that, if you've got any questions and I can help, I'd love to help you answer those questions. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, guys.